I'm now showing what the gauges I selected look like when they're sitting in the carbon fiber sheeting. They're not wired in or mounted firmly yet, but it's just a mock setup or mock installation. So on the left side, I went with oil temperature, which happens to correlate very strongly with water temperature. So you don't necessarily need it, but I nevertheless wanted to have it because I don't want this to spike up ahead of water temp, so you might not see it. So I just want to keep an eye on the oil temperature. This is your RPM. I selected up to 8,000 for the LS engine, which is good enough. I really don't plan, with a 600 horsepower LS engine, I really don't plan on going more than about in the 6,000 to 7,000 RPM area. And in the center, I have the quad gauge, which has your water temperature on the left, your oil pressure on the right, fuel level here, and then the volts from the alternator, or the volts of the entire system on the top. It's a pretty informative gauge. Then I have a GPS speedometer, which is very nice, which has the left and the right turn signal markers here. And this is a bright blue LED for the bright lights. I tested that out. This is actually it's a very simple hack to wire this up, because I put the battery in the car, turn the headlights on, and turn the signals on, and just found those wires for the brights as well. And over here on the far right, I have the fuel pressure and PSI. Fuel pressure for an LS system is typically about 55 to 60, somewhere in this range. So you want to keep an eye on your fuel pressure here. I was thinking about getting exhaust gas temperature, but that's really unnecessarily. You're going to want that on a jet or an airplane, but not, or helicopter, not so much a car. After all, you can get about 100 or more parameters out of an LS engine. So knock yourself out. Whatever you want to display in your gauges, go ahead and do it. But I thought this would be informative enough just to get a new reset on the gauges, away from the VDOs, which were all really faded out, and I didn't want to spring $3,000 to $4,000 on having those VDO gauges, the OEM VDO gauges, rebuilt. Number one, because I really don't like the VDO gauges, and the information's out of date. That's from the 60s. And then number two, I'm not going to shell out 2 to 3K. I'm not really after a Pebble Beach show car that's in concourse condition. This is an LS swap that I'm trying to really bring up to newer standards. So in conclusion, there you have it, the 5 gauges I ordered from Speedhut, how I cut the carbon fiber sheeting out, how I mounted it, and a few caveats and things that you need to be careful with when doing this.